morning, everyone. It's Mr. T back again with the Chromeworks Club for December 5th, 2020. Well, it's getting cold out here, but I've been staying warm, working in my room here on Scratch stuff, and I've got a really great lineup of material for you today. Next week, I have to venture out into the cold, though I'm back in the classroom again, and I wanted to tell you guys about that. So, as I've mentioned a couple of times, I've been working at home mostly the last couple of months, making a series of really in-depth videos that are supposed to be a starting point for Scratch. So anyone who hasn't done any Scratch before, this is a great way to get into it. We're going to be making my famous cat and mouse game. I've turned it into a 10-part series, about 75 minutes worth of video, and I really think it's fantastic work. So I'm going to be beta testing it this week in 2 different classrooms, and I have a little announcement here to talk about that. So let's go right to that. School's back in session for Chromeworks this week. We'll be doing live training sessions December 7, 8, and 9 with the grade 6-7 class at Blossom Park Public School in Gloucester. And then on December 10 and 11, we'll be at Muchmore Public School in the Glebe, teaching in the grade 4 classes. Both these classes are helping me beta test my new cat and mouse video series, a classroom-friendly video tutorial that will teach you everything you need to know to get started in Scratch while making a cool game with Mr. T. If you live in the Ottawa area, find out how Chromeworks can come to your classroom. Drop us an email at info@chromeworks.ca. Anyway, sorry again, though my friends on Discord can't see that, but I will post I'll post that video up on Discord later if you guys want to see it. I'm going to figure out how to get this feed out to Discord eventually. Anyway, who's with us over here in Discord today? After a long absence, my friend Chris from England is back again. Welcome back, Chris. Nice to see you again. Chris isn't talking. He's probably listening on the live stream on the YouTube. He's a couple of minutes behind. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you again. What have you been up to? You've been scratching much lately?
Yeah, I have been doing a bit at my dad's.
Okay. And, okay, well, really nice to see you back here. It's been a few weeks since you've been back here. Gamer Davey's back here again, as usual, up to his usual antics. Nice to see you again, Davey. You can say hi if you want to. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Davey. Nice to have you back with us, buddy. And our friend Deck, also from England, is back again today. I think Deck's microphone is still messed up, so he probably can't say hello, but say hi if you can. And Kian from Ottawa is here as well today. Say hi if you have a microphone, Kian. Hi, nice to have you back, buddy. All right, so we got a full house over here on Discord where our longtime club members are hanging out, but you don't have to be on Discord to join us. Just join us here on YouTube every week, and you're welcome to say hi in the chat if you're here. If anyone else is here over on the YouTube chat, please drop me a message and say hi, and I'll give you a shout out on the stream. Okay, well, speaking of my friend Deck, he has been working on an Among Us remix, so I've been really excited by the reaction to Among Us. It's had some of the best views that I've seen. I mean, we're not a very big channel, but my stuff is starting to get noticed, and especially this Among Us game because it's so popular with kids your age. I've had almost 250 views on this game right now and a couple of likes and stuff, and we've also got over 200 views on the YouTube tutorial as well. We're coming out with part 2 of that YouTube tutorial this week. It's coming out at 11 o'clock today, and that will be teaching your characters a little bit of AI. We're going to get into how to move the characters around, not your character, the imposter, but the characters that you're trying to kill. We're going to be moving them around using some neat coding tricks. I'm going to show you a little bit about that today as well. But first I want to show you Deck's remix of Among Us. He's already gone ahead and played my finished game. You can get to the finished game from my live stream page, by the way. There's a little button here. I don't think I've updated this, but there's a little button here that says play the game. So if you just go to chromeworks.ca. Oh, you know what? I'm on the wrong screen here. You can't see me. How do you like that new transition? That's something that was done up by one of my new interns, Liam. I have two interns now, Liam and Bashir, and they're both doing fantastic work with me, so I want to give them a shout out as well. As I was saying, Deck has done a really nice remix of Among Us, and I wanted to show you that as well right now. So let's have a looky here. So Deck has added some new looks to his character, and whoop, I think it's, hold on, what's going on here? I can't move him around. Oh yeah, I remember now. So Deck has a new feature where, and it's hard to see because he's covered this up with variables, but he has a new feature in easy mode and a hard mode here, and he's covered this up with a my costume variable. So let's get into that right now and make that hide so that we can see how the game actually works here. My costume and crewmates alive. We don't know. Oh, he does want that one up there. Okay, anyway, so it's similar, but he's got it set up right here so that you can move around with your mouse controls instead, and that's easy mode. And then you can click on this button, and that turns off mouse controls and turns the keyboard controls back on again. So I thought that was a really nice little twist to it. He's changed some of the graphics around, as you can see. They're all wearing like bunny ears and stuff, and your own character picks a random skin every time that you start him up again, or at least that was his plan. I'm not sure if he's implemented it. Let's try that again and see if he gets a different costume. No, it looks like the same costume here. So he's still working to implement that, but he's doing really well. Anyway, so yeah, oh, and he's got some new sound effects here for the kills as well. That's kind of fun. Let me try that again. Really fun. Anyway, a nice little remix, my friend. Thank you. So please feel free to remix my Among Us game if you would like to. The remix room address is back on my website at chromeworks.ca/lessons, and you'll be able to, or /livestream, and you'll be able to get into it from there. And really excited to have to see what you guys do with my game to give it a little bit of a tweak. I wanted to show you also a couple of new features that I've been implementing in the last couple of weeks in my games. Mostly I want to talk to you about title screens. So you might have noticed that really nice Scratch projects have a little thumbnail image in them. And I've started doing that with my own projects as well. So if you go and look at my work, this is my new Chromeworks channel, by the way, in Scratch. I've created a channel here just for finished projects. I have so much other stuff, starter files and other stuff over on my Mr. Tomec channel here that I thought I would do a new channel just for finished projects. So if you look up Chromeworks on Scratch, you'll find me there. And you can see that my projects here all have this really nice set of graphics at the beginning. So instead of just looking at my game screen, you can see something that has a title on here as well. And I really like that a lot. And it's something I've only started doing recently. I wanted to show you guys really quickly how to do that. So let me get over to a version of Among Us here and show you what's going on. So I created this image in a photo editor. You can use Pixlr or Photoshop or whatever you want. You have to size it properly so it's 480 wide by 360 deep. And the point is that you don't have to do anything fancy to make it appear. You just have to make it go to the front of the screen, and as long as it's visible when you get out of the game. If you've shared a game with the rest of the world, the idea is that whatever screen you left it on is the screen that everyone else will see. So get your screen looking like this. Set up a little bit of code here so that it'll hide if you click on it or if you click the green flag. And it won't come back again. Like when people are playing it, they'll only see it the first time they launch it. But because people are watching your version of the game, they'll always see your title screen here. And if they go into it, then they'll be able to continue playing, and it'll all hide and you can get back to the regular game like that. But I really think it's a very great way to get your games looking really professional. So if you want to increase your views of your game projects, I really suggest you get a thumbnail going. So that's something that I'd really like to get you guys to start showing me in your own projects. Okay, I I also wanted to talk to you about the movement scheme I have in Among Us. That's one of the things that I'm teaching today, is how to get your characters to move around properly. I used some very complex math in today's lesson. It has to do with the sine value, and you guys have been watching me regularly might know that the sine is a trigonometry function. It's complicated math and something you guys won't be doing until high school. But what's really useful about it is it can be used to make curvy motion and stuff like that. Because it's a value that goes back and forth between +1 and -1 in kind of a swooping fashion like this, where it goes down and then back up and down and back up, you can take advantage of that to make your movement look really natural. I've got a couple of different blocks here inside this Scratch project that I've coded up. I've made Gobo my main character here, and let me turn Giga off for a second. So I've coded my cat here to basically run away from me. What I'm telling him to do is point towards me, but he does it so quickly you can't see it. Then he turns around and faces in an opposite direction, but not completely opposite. 180 is opposite, and so let me show you what 180 looks like. So this guy is basically trying to run away from me as fast as he can. He's going directly. But if we add this sine number, this turn coefficient is just a random number that we basically picked, right? But if I add that, we're basically going to go back and forth from +20 degrees to -20 degrees. And this sine is going to make it do that. And so watch what happens when he runs away from me now with this function. He runs away from me, but not straight. He'll always curve off in a little bit of a distance. And if you change that value around while he's running, then the amount that he turns away will change as well. Let me show you that in Giga here. So Giga is set to just wander around the screen. So he's doing the same thing. He's offsetting himself by a little bit, but then we're changing that turn coefficient variable every once in a while. And what it's going to make him do is, instead of walking in a straight direction, he's going to meander around. Now, he's not detecting my movement here. He's just kind of moving around. But you can see how he's doing that kind of swooping, kind of wandering movement. And this is how we got our characters in the Among Us game to not always walk in straight lines. We got them to kind of look like they're wandering around in random directions. And so bravo to Jeffrey for showing me how to do this code using the sine function. I'm going to copy that into the chat in case you guys are interested in trying that out as well. Oh, Liam's on today. Liam, my co-op student, is on here today. You can go ahead and say hi on Discord if you want to. And he just mentioned that Bashir was the one who did my transition for me. I'm really sorry I had a senior moment there and mentioned the wrong name. So welcome, Liam, to the podcast. You can drop in and say hi if you want to say hi to the audience and introduce yourself. He might have just popped in for a minute, though. I know he has other stuff to do today. Okay, so we're good to go with this now. I just wanted to show you this really, really quickly. So we've got a couple of our regular features coming up today. Number one, let's do our, so we're going to do our Extreme Makeover Scratch Edition, and we're also going to do a Marvelous Machine today as well. So that's what you can look forward to for the rest of the broadcast here. Let's get right to the Extreme Makeover segment, and I've got a little special thing I want to show you. All right, so this is a project called Scratch Run. It's by a user named MicahMaster100, and he comes from New Jersey. He's 11 years old, and he tells me that he's been scratching ever since he was 7, basically. So he's been making a lot of fun projects. He's in the middle of making a Fortnite-style game that he's really excited about, and that's not quite done yet. It's still in development. This game, Scratch Run, he did a little while ago. It's a nice, slick little game, and I wanted to show it to you guys because it's a good example of really simple, straightforward code that runs really smoothly. So let's get this running up here. I'm going to click on the green flag. And you can see he's got a nice little title screen, and he's got some wiggly stuff here. He's using the sine function as well to make stuff wiggle around. Let's get playing. This is a runner game, right? So you can jump by jumping over things with the up key. And there's all kinds of obstacles. The only problem I have with his game here is there's not much feedback when you hit obstacles, right? It's really hard to tell. He does have the hearts disappearing, but there's no audio feedback or any visual feedback to let you know that he's hit something. So for my Extreme Makeover remix today, I just wanted to add a little bit of extra functionality into this game. It turns out to be a little bit more complicated than you think. So I wanted to give you guys a little explanation of how to go about adding a little bit of visual charm to a game like this. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make a green screen flash whenever he gets injured. So let's go ahead and create that. I'm going to send you guys a copy of this game, by the way. So I'm going to put it into the Discord and into the YouTube chat as well, if you guys want to work along with me. So let's go ahead and add a little red flash to the screen that appears every time that we get injured, basically. So I'm going to go into my sprite tools here. I'm going to click on paint. Let's get into bitmap mode, because bitmap mode is really good for filling up screens with whole stuff. All I want to do is fill the screen up with a whole bunch of red. So I'm just going to paint it with red with the paint bucket. For some reason, when you set up backgrounds here, they never get centered properly anymore in Scratch, and I'm not quite sure what that's all about. You can manually move it, or you can tell it to go to 0, 0, and that will work as well. Okay, so we're going to make that basically appear and disappear when we get a message here. So let's go ahead and with our green flag, we'll tell it to hide right at the beginning. And we're going to have an event here, and the event's going to be called damage, basically. So let's go, when I receive damage, let's do a new message here. We're going to make that red screen appear, and then it's just going to very quickly fade away. So let's do a show, and we'll do a repeat 10 times, and then we'll do a ghost effect here. So let's go ahead and go to our looks commands here and go set ghost effect, or change ghost effect. Let's set the ghost effect to 0 right now, just in case it's someplace else. And then we'll change the ghost effect by 10 every time. And that will make it basically fade away every time it gets there. Let's clear out the graphics effects because I accidentally added some color here. So let me click on it and you'll see what happens here. So every time we do that, let's have it show here as well so that you guys, oh, it is showing, eh? I think it's going to have to go to the front as well. So let's bring this to the front, go to front, and then we'll send it back to the back again just in case it gets in our way later. Also, especially when you turn the game on, you don't want to be seeing this red screen, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to send it to the back layer whenever we're done this, so that it doesn't end up getting stuck on the front of the screen. And why is that not appearing now? So set color to effect to, oh, set ghost effect to 0. There we go. That'll work. So you can see we've got this red flash on the screen every time this is invoked now, which is really good. And so now all we have to do is in our game, we can make this happen just by sending out this event every time we get damaged. Let's also add a sound effect here as well. I'm going to go to my sounds and I'm just going to get a little bonk sound, which is really good for getting hurt. I'll go to the wacky and I'll grab this one called bonk. That sounds pretty good. So let's add that in here. Let's go to our sounds and just do a start sound command when I get damaged. There we go. So a little bit of feedback, which I thought was missing from Micah's game. And let's go back to the Scratch Cat code here. He's got some very nice code here with jumping and since it's a constant running game, he doesn't have to have any left-right movement. It's basically just the up arrow that you use to control your jumping. And so there's a jump routine here where he goes through 15 iterations of his costume, a running costume. This costume, by the way, was made by the very famous scratcher Griff Patch. He is the maker of Paper Minecraft, which you guys might have heard of, which is the most popular Scratch game of all time. So he designed these graphics, and Micah added them to the game. He's credited Griff Patch as the creator of this. And there's some really nice running graphics in here and some other poses and stuff, which are really nice. So we're going to be taking advantage of these in our remix here as well today. Okay, so where's the spot where we get damage? Well, right here. If touching obstacles, then change lives and wait 2 seconds. So let's go ahead and add that event in there that says broadcast damage. We'll pop that in there and try replaying Micah's game again and see whether that's any better. And so you can see when I get hurt, now we've got some feedback. I just think that's a nice improvement over the original style of the game here. Now, I want to show you one more thing. We've also got a graphic in here that Micah didn't use. He just imported the whole sprite. There is a costume here called Hurt that shows your guy getting hit, and I thought we'd change it to this graphic as well while we're in here. The problem with that, though, is that this script here, if we do change the costume down here, which we're going to do, the script is going to keep sending him back to the regular costume the way that it's written right now. And I'm going to show you guys how to get around that problem. But first, let's go ahead and switch costume. So let's go to our looks commands here, and we'll go switch costume to Hurt. And you'll see when I play the game, you might be able to see the Hurt graphic for a second, but probably not, because it's going to switch back. Oh, you can see that just very, very quickly, you can he does change graphics, but it doesn't work quite the way we expect it to. So what we really want to do is interrupt this entire set of commands here so that he doesn't reassert his old costume. So this is a very important thing if you've got a regular like walking costume and you want to break someone out of it and do something different for a little while. So I thought this would be a good little lesson for you guys to show you how to go about doing that. So what we're going to do is control it with a variable. I'm going to create a new variable here called Hurt. And so let's go ahead and make a variable. I'll just call it Hurt, and it'll be set to 0 if we're not hurt, and set to 1 if we are hurt. So at the very beginning of our game, let's set Hurt to 0. And then when we hurt ourselves, we'll go set Hurt to 1 inside this if statement. All right. Now we're switching the costume still, but again, we need to pause this script while that's happening. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put a if statement here. Oh, I thought I had the code set up properly here. Okay, I guess this is the wrong. Oh yeah, here it is. Yes. Hi, Davey. What's up?
When you put the set Hurt to 1, it still says set Hurt to 1.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for pointing that out for me, Davey. Thank you. You saved my butt again on this. Thank you. All right. So here's his original code here. And the part of the problem is that he's stuck inside this loop here. So this loop's going to go around 15 times. And until that's all done running, we can't interfere with the costume changes. Once you get into something like this, it's impossible to get you out. So I'm going to modify this code a little bit so that it no longer is running in this constant repeat cycle. There's 16 frames of animation that have him running basically, and that's the way that he set it up. We switched to the first costume, then we changed costume 15 times. But what we could do is do kind of an if statement in here that will, oh, actually we're gonna do a repeat until here instead of a repeat. So I'm gonna pull all of this code out of here, and we're going to grab a repeat until block here. So remember, the repeat until is a loop that keeps running until an if statement, some kind of event happens. So what's the thing we're going to repeat until here? We're going to repeat until the costume name is the last costume. So let's go grab an equal sign in here. And I'm going to grab a costume name block from our looks commands here. Costume, not costume number, but costume name. We could do the number here if I knew what number that costume was, but in this case I know the name is run-16. So what's going to happen is this loop's going to keep coming around over and over and over again until we get to costume run-16. Then it'll exit the loop. We're still in a forever though, so it'll come around, switch back to run-1. So that doesn't change the functionality of the game at all. It just changes the way that the costumes are done so that we're no longer stuck in this 15 times loop that we can't break out of. Now, I'm going to add an extra if statement inside here. So inside the repeat until here, I'm going to take all of the content and put it inside another if statement. So let's grab everything after next costume here, and we're going to put it inside of an if statement. I'm hoping this works. This is I tested this out before, but if you put something in the wrong row, then it can all mess up. So let's grab an equal sign here, and we'll say we can only do this if hurt is equal to 0. So what's going to happen is it's going to run through this animation constantly until we get hurt, and then it's going to see that it's not 0 anymore. It's going to ignore all this, and yeah, but if the next costume has to be inside that as well, yeah, or that's not going to work. Let's try doing like that. Okay, so what should happen here is he shouldn't change costume at all here. He should just be stuck inside here until that costume goes back again. And so what we're going to do here at the end, instead of waiting 2 seconds, is we're just going to wait half a second, because that's all that we really want to the time that we want to have that costume in here. So I'm going to go 0.5 seconds. Then we'll switch the costume back to the first run costume again. Switch costume to run-1. Where's our run? There's a run-1. And then we want it to wait 2 seconds. So I'm going to wait the rest of the time here. And that's the cooldown during which you can't get hurt again, right? So, and in here, we're also going to need to set our variable back to 0 again. And that's going to reinitialize this thing so that he can start running again, basically. So let's go set hurt back to 0 again. And so let me save my work in case anyone got, let's remix it actually. So I'm going to so my remix of the game is at a different address here. Let me send that to you guys in the chat if you're interested. So this is my remix of Micah's game here. Let's give it a try and see if this is working properly. So play. And I'm jumping, and now let's get hurt here. Oh! And you can see that now I'm diving backwards and getting to this hurt animation every time I get hit. Oh, nice. Okay. So that's our extreme makeover for this week. I think, I really think Micah did a great job with this game, by the way, and I don't want to disparage what Micah did here, because I think it's a really nice piece of coding. He says he did the whole thing in 3 days, and this was a little while ago when he didn't know quite as much about Scratch. So I just thought it was a good opportunity to teach you a little tweaking method here, but don't want to say that Micah's game here isn't fantastic. Check him out on Scratch, Micah Master 100, and he really deserves some views. He's a good Scratcher. If you have a project that you want me to feature on here, just let me know. Drop me an email at... Well, send me an email at info@crewmates.ca. Let me show you that again here. info@crewmates.ca. So just drop me an email and I would be happy to remix your game or do something fancy. So I'll be happy to remix your game or do something fancy with it here. Okay, I've got some weird stuff going on with my transition screens here. I think something's not set up properly. Okay, let me get back to my live screen here. There we are, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's get on to the Marvelous Machine segment now. So my good friend Liam, my co-op student, has done the work for me on this week, and I'm really quite happy with what we've got here. So let me show you. This week we're going to be adding a readout to the screen. So we've got a little screen here set up with a little dot in the middle that's kind of a little, and we're going to make kind of a machine that goes ping, boom, 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 like a heart rate monitor, basically. The cool thing about it is it's going to be interactive so that we can use these sliders and knobs that we already made last week and use them to get stuff set up here. So let me give you guys the file so you can get started if you want to code with me. So,
Mr. T.
Yes, Chris?
I tried to get onto the your remix of the scratch run.
Oh, but I probably didn't share it, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't shared.
Yeah, so let me go back to that for a second and share it. Sorry about that, Chris. Okay, so that should be shared now. You should be able to get into it now if you want to have a look at it. So, Mr. Tomec, no problems at all. So, Mr. T's Marvelous Machine, again, just to remind you guys, is a little experiment we've been doing where every week we add a little new doodad to this machine, something cool that will make it do something. In the first couple of weeks here, we created a musical slider here where we can turn it on and off with this button. Oh, what's happening here? It's broken. Oh, there we go. There we go. We've got a volume knob here, so let's turn it back on again. And you can see that there's a volume knob that turns the volume up. And all these changes only happen in between the loops here, unfortunately. And then we've got a speed slider here. You can see it better when we're... So we've got a rotating knob here that's working quite nicely that changes the volume. And we've got the speed of the music being changed here. I'm going to turn this back off again. So what we want to do is hook these controls up to this new readout so that we can make it do some cool stuff, okay? Let's get onto that right now. So we are going to be programming this little sprite here called EKG dot. And that is what's actually going to be drawing on the screen. Now, if you're trying to draw with a pen tool, we are using the pen tool in this project, you should be aware that you can't draw on top of a sprite. That absolutely won't work. So what I had to do for the background to this is set it up on the stage, on the backdrop. So I've drawn this little black sprite here that exactly matches where this object is here on my screen. And that's really, really important because when we want to draw with our pen, we can draw on top of the background, but we cannot draw on top of the sprite. So otherwise you wouldn't be able to get your object set up here properly. Okay, so let's start coding this guy and see what we can do. So again, we're coding this dot and we're going to be using the pen tool to make it move around. Let's go grab a green flag. Now, did I share the Marvelous Machine with you guys? I did, didn't I? So I'd encourage you guys to code along with me in this. And and I'll save the file every once in a while if you just want to refresh and see what I've coded on this project. Okay, so when green flag clicked, let's just have it go to its start position, which is at the left side of the screen here. So let's grab a go to command here, and we'll tell it to go basically just over to the left side of the screen here where it can start. So we're going to go minus 145x and 122y. Now we need to set things up with our pen tool. Remember, the pen is an add-on that you can get to by clicking down at the bottom left here on Add Extension. And just click on that and click on the pen tool to get it loaded. We already have it loaded in this particular version of the project here. So the first thing we want to do is these things, even if you hit the stop button, your pen drawings will still be here. So we have to start with an erase all command that'll reset our screen. We only draw when our pen is down. So let's put our pen down. Let's set our pen size to 2. You can change this if you like. I think 2 looks pretty good, but you can go with a skinnier or fatter line if you like. And we're going to get a color. Now, green is the usual color used for these readouts, but I've seen blue ones as well. That works pretty well. But I'm going to go with a green color here. All right, let's get a forever loop going here. All right, and so we're going to be having an on-off button here. So let's grab an if statement here. We'll say if heartbeat is equal to on. I believe that variable is already here. Heartbeat, yeah. So we'll grab an equal sign and say if heartbeat equals on, then we're going to do that. Now we're going to use the on-off switch later. I'll show you guys how to code that in just a minute. So we should probably start by setting that variable heartbeat to on, just so that our machine is going to work properly as we're testing it here. And then we'll get the on-off switch hooked up later. Okay, so our heartbeat is set for on now. We're good with that. Now, the first thing we're going to do is just make the thing go across the screen as if there's no changes to it at all. So we're just going to change the X variable so that it slides across the screen, and when it gets to the end, we're going to have it go back again. So let's go to our motion blocks. We'll go change X by 2, and we'll tell it if it gets too far over on the screen, then we'll have it go back again. So let's grab an if statement in here, and we'll say if X position is greater than -4. I just did some playing around here, and that turns out to be the spot where this dot hits the edge of the screen here. So X position we can find under our blue blocks at the very bottom here. That's our current horizontal coordinate. So we're going to say if our X position is greater than -4, then we're just going to have it flop back again. So let's set our X, back to -145. And we also have to erase the line that we drew last time. Otherwise, we're going to get the lines overlapping each other. So let's go back to our pen tool, and we'll add an erase all here. So every time we do a new line, we're going to erase this. Let's give this a look and see what it looks like. So you can see we're just drawing this line across the screen. And every time it gets to the end, it looks like it's not quite far enough on the left here, eh? Let's change that X coordinate a little bit to maybe 150. See what that looks like. -150 here. And -150 here. I think that might be a little bit better. Huh. It still looks like there's a gap there, which is a little bit weird. All right, I don't want to play with it anymore. You can tweak that a little bit if you like. All right, so this is all the code in this particular section. So we're going to do a new section here that just changes the y-axis of this line, basically. And so it's going to make it go up and down as it's moving. And that's how we're going to get that kind of heartbeat effect going here. So we're not going to, there are ways to change this so that it changes stuff live as you're going along the way, but we're actually going to pre-program some code here that's going to make it go up really high and then down really low and then back to the middle again, basically. And then we're going to be able to change the height of that because we're using variables. So let's go to our green flag here, events, when green flag clicked. Let's tell it to go to the front here, just in case you touch something and it moved it to the back. It's always good to have your stacking order set up properly here. Okay, so let's go grab a forever here. And we've got a variable in here that I think I've already created called, no, we don't. Okay, so let's make a new variable. I'm going to call it intensity. So that's going to measure how high up or down it goes. So we're going to want our line to be able to go up really high to really low sometimes, and sometimes to be very shallow. And so that's what that intensity variable is going to control. So let's start by setting our intensity to... Now, we are going to be able to change this intensity by moving this slider around here, basically, or no, by moving the volume knob on the volume music controller here. So when our music is turned off, we'll still be able to control stuff using this volume knob here. So we're going to set our intensity to the music volume divided by 10. If we don't divide it, the number's going to go up way too high and way too low. So divided by 10 seems to work pretty well here. So let's go grab an equal sign here. and we'll go music volume. Now we already set up our music volume over when we were creating our music here. So we already have that variable set up and it's already hooked up to this rotating knob here. So music volume to music volume divide. So set intensity to music volume. Oh, I grabbed an equal there. I actually wanted a divided by sign there. I wasn't thinking here. So music volume divided by 10. Beautiful. Okay, so that's going to allow us to control the intensity of the heartbeat thing here. I do have a heartbeat sound in here. Let me show it to you. So it's a beep plus a boom boom sound, basically. I don't know if my volume's turned up loud enough that you can hear it, but we're going to play with that volume in a little bit. Let's set the volume of the sound here as well. So let's go set volume to music volume. So we'll just make it so that the actual loudness of this will be hooked up to the volume knob as well. So that beep sound will get louder or quieter as we turn the volume knob as well. So in addition to going higher and lower, it'll also get louder and quieter. Okay, and so here's where we're going to need to here's where we're checking to see if our machine is turned on here. So let's say if it's equal to on. So if heartbeat is equal to on, there we go. We're going to start our sound. So let's go start sound, heartbeat. And here's where we're going to make it go up and down. So we're going to change our Y attribute here. Let's grab a repeat block here. Let's go to our control blocks and we'll repeat 3 times. And so rather than going straight up, we're going to have it go up on an angle. And that's what this repeat is about. It'll move it a little bit up and then a little bit up more, and it'll keep moving horizontally while it does that. So that's going to make the line go up at an angle. So in here, we're going to change our Y attribute. Let's go change Y by 1 times the intensity. So we're going to have this repeat like 3 times. It's going to go up really high, and then it's going to go it's going to go up kind of, or it's going to go up a certain distance, and it's going to go down twice the amount, and then it's going to come back up again the same distance, and that'll give it that signature kind of heartbeat look to itself. So let's go change Y by intensity. All right. And then when we come back the other direction, we're going to want it to go in the opposite direction here. Whoa. So let's go change Y by -2 times the intensity. So we want it to be twice as far, but in the opposite direction. So that's why we're going to put a -2 in there. So it'll come back up again. So it went a certain distance down, then it goes above the line again to double that distance. And then when we come back down the other direction, we're going to go back to -1. So change Y by 1 times intensity, or just by intensity, right? We don't need to say 1 times intensity. So let's have a look at what that looks like now. I think that, oh, I've got the repeat outside of my loop here. Let's make sure everything's tidy. All our repeats should be stacked up on top of each other. So again, we're drawing an angle line up and then coming way down, and then an angle line back up to the middle here. Let's have a look at that and see how that works. Oh, my line is too thick here, eh? And let's hide my intensity variable. So where's my intensity variable? I thought we had a line, a pen size of 2. Oh, it's change pen size instead of set pen size. That was my mistake here. Let's go set pen size to 2. That's how I messed up there. Let's go have a look again. There we go. Now we've got a nice looking little line here. Now this should already be hooked up to our attributes here. So let's try playing around with these sliders a little bit. Okay, this one I think needs some work. I think we haven't quite got this one working yet here. The volume knob though. Yeah, you can see the volume goes down and the amount of the swirling goes down as well. So I wanted to show you guys this as an example of one thing that you can do here to have a cool readout or something to show how things are variables are changing inside your project. So this is something you can apply to all kinds of different projects. Just having a line or graph showing some kind of external data. You can hook this up to a microbit, for example, and have it measuring something, and then have a readout here showing what the microbit was reading, which is a really cool little project I'd love to see some of you guys work on. I don't know if any of you have a microbit at home. Most of you have access to them at school, though, because
I have a microbit.
oh, you do, Chris? Okay, cool. I would love to see you remix this and make some kind of a readout that shows what your microbit is reading or something, right? It could be your tilt on the microbit, or it could be one of the other sensors on it. Do you think that's something you could make up for me, Chris? Are you interested in that project?
Yeah, I could try that.
Okay, if you have time, anyway, I want to see you guys take what I've learned here, what I've taught you here, and apply it in some kind of a new project. So hopefully we'll be able to show that remix next week if you get onto the task here for me, Chris. But no pressure if you have a busy week. I know you all have school to do as well. All right. Oh, and there was one other block we needed to do here to make this second slider go. So this slider, remember, changes the speed of the music. We're using our music commands to do that. And so we're playing notes here for a certain amount of time. Now, those notes are controlled by the tempo, and so this knob actually changes the tempo of the music around. Tempo just being a fancy word for speed here. So as we move this up, we want this to go faster based on the tempo of the music. Well, we've already got it going very fast here, and all we need to do now is slow it down by telling it to just pause every once in a while, to pause a different amount of time depending on how fast our tempo of our music is going, or how high this slider is up here. So I'm going to grab a block here that says a rest. So a rest, of course, is the time when we don't have any sound inside here. So I'm going to tell it, and it's going to do the same thing as a wait. Like we could put a wait 1 second here. Let me show you that first. So let's go wait 1 second here. And you can see as we change that variable, let's change it to 0.5. We're going faster. Let's try 0.25 and see what that looks like. There we go. But we want to hook that up to the slider, right? We could create a variable here and have that move around, but we already have this slider detecting changes in our tempo of the music. So all we have to do is put a pause here. I'm going to put a number here like 0.5. You can play with this to whatever you like. But as you're going to see in a second here, that is going to change the tempo of this heartbeat here. So let's try sliding it up now and see if that works. So that's about as fast as it'll go. And let's try slower. Very cool. And back to the middle again. Let's turn that volume up here. Yeah, so this is really fun. Oh, so we made some changes to the volume slider here. This is something Liam's going to have to look at here. So the volume slider is hooked up the wrong way to this right now. He made some changes to my volume slider last week that I think has kind of broken it. Okay, we'll have a look at that later on and hopefully get that fixed for you guys. So that's really cool. All we have to do now is hook up the on-off button. So we've got this EKG button here. I have a sound effect here. That's just a click sound for when we enable it here. So the code's very simple for that button here. Let's just tell it to go to its appropriate spot at the beginning, just in case we accidentally move it around here. I'm just going to tell it to go to where it is right now, which is fine. And let's tell it when we click on it. So let's go to our events. We'll go when this sprite is clicked. We're going to play that sound, start sound, click. And we're just going to do an if-else statement here for the button commands here. So let's go if heartbeat equals on. We'll grab an equal sign here and go to our variables. We'll grab a heartbeat. If heartbeat equals on, then we're going to turn our costume because we have two different costumes for this, an on and an off button, and they're labeled as on and off. So let's go switch costume to off. If it's on and we click it, we're turning it off, of course. And here's where we're going to set that variable as well. So we'll go to our variables and we'll go set heartbeat to off. Okay, let's copy those two blocks and put them down here. We'll just make them do the opposite thing here. So if it's off and we click on it, then of course it'll go on and we'll turn the heartbeat to on here. And so the only change that'll make is that we'll be able to switch this machine on and off with that switch here. And we did something similar here with this green button as well. So let's go ahead. So now it's turned off. And there it goes. And now we can play with the slider. There we go, and our volume knob's working. Yeah, it seems like this volume knob keeps going back to the middle again. It doesn't turn itself off. We're gonna have to have a look at that. Anyway, and then we can switch it back off again. Beautiful. Okay, guys, so that's the latest addition to our machine. I'd love to see your remixes. If anyone has an idea of a little machine or device that we want to add, a gizmo knob, doodad, or toy that we want to add to this machine, I'd like you to share it with me at my email address, or just send me a remix and let me know what you did here. I would, every couple of weeks, I'm not necessarily going to do this every week, but every time we run this segment, we're going to add a new piece to this machine, and you're going to learn a little bit more about how to control interfaces on Scratch, in Scratch. And so this is something I think you guys could really use on your own projects as well. So that about wraps it up for this week, guys. So next week I'm going to be in classrooms working at two different schools, as I said, Blossom Park School in Ottawa and at Much More School in Ottawa as well. If you want me to come to your class and you live in Ottawa, please drop me an email and we can get in touch with your teacher and see whether they're interested, or better yet, talk to your teacher and have them email me. If you would like me to teach this class, this cat and mouse lesson to your class remotely, I will be happy to do that as well. And we can set that up again. So anyone, anywhere in the world who wants this lesson from me can get it set up. If you just drop me a line here, we'll see what we can do for you. All this cat and mouse stuff is going to be free, by the way. It's set up so that you guys can all use it on your own. So share it with your own classrooms. And you don't need me to teach it because I'm already on the screen teaching everything there. But if you do want some extra hand-holding and support from Mr. T while you're learning this lesson, I'm happy to participate. So it's nice seeing you guys again, and I'd love to see you again next week. Thanks for joining me.